For example, I'm a Taiwanese. I didn't fit in any culture. And then I talk and behave like Japanese.
Hi.
In USA changed me the most.
First of all, welcome and thank you for joining.
Thank you for inviting.
Thank you. The first question that I always ask is always the same, and is at that moment in time, the first time you decided to leave Taiwan behind, what was it that made you or led you to leave your country?
It was more mainly to grow mentally because I wanted to push my comfort zone and I also wanted to explore the world. And since childhood, I had a dream with my sister that we want to travel around the world. So
Nice.
I actually went to Japan as the first stop. But before then, I was born in Japan and I grew up in Japan till the age of 6. So I had a very strong sentiment towards Japan. And I also had the chance to study for the bachelor degree in Japan.
Did you live more time in Japan or in Taiwan?
Back then, because I left Taiwan at the age of 18. So back then it was 6 years of Japan and 12 years in Taiwan.
Nice. Was it hard to adapt from one country to the other?
Yes, it was, because before studying Japan, I thought I was quite Japanese. So in Taiwan, many people say, Taiwanese. And I looked Japanese according to them. And then I talk and behave like Japanese, also according to them. But I didn't know. And until I went to Japan and I found the differences. So I felt like, no, actually I'm a Taiwanese. But because I have no accent when I speak that language, so many Japanese would think I'm a Japanese. But my thinking, my behavior is Taiwanese. For me, I feel that I didn't fit in any culture. And also, that was the first time I felt myself as Taiwanese and started to find the root as Taiwanese.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, so I struggled for so many years. I didn't realize it until around 10 years ago that because I had to do the thesis for my master degree. And then actually my professor helped me. My professor, Jane, who's Korean American, and she absolutely understood my situation and analyzed it. What happened to me was, so in Japan, even though I spoke Japanese, but I always felt that I didn't speak perfectly. So I was very perfectionist. And I felt that there was always a room for me to improve. So I wasn't very Japanese. But but Japanese mistook me as Japanese. And I feel very stressed out because I wanted them to see me as foreigner so that they could be more tolerant. Because they have different standards towards Japanese and foreigners. And if they took me as Japanese, then they had higher standard and expectations. But I, deep in my heart, I knew that I wasn't, and I knew that I still have a lot of room to reach. So I wasn't perfect Japanese, and I felt very stressed when they saw me as one. I rather they saw me as foreigner. Then I didn't have to be perfect. And then I struggled. But in Japan, a lot of people talk to me in Japanese. When I ask girls, they'll say, "Oh, your Mandarin is so good." But I'm Taiwanese. And in Taiwan also, they saw me as foreigner because they said, "Oh, you grew up in Japan. You were born in Japan, so you are Japanese." I say, "No, my passport is from Taiwan." So I was always struggling. But in USA, I felt very comfortable. I was Asian. Accepted me as Barbie. So they never say you're Taiwanese or you're Japanese. And the baby's back now.
Do you need a minute?
It's okay. Maybe. Hey, can I?
Hey, hello. Hi.
Okay. I don't know how quiet she will be. All right.
We'll find out.
So in USA, I was able to just be myself and a person who was influenced by both culture. And then because in USA, they didn't know the differences between Japanese and Taiwanese. So they just accepted me who I was. So I didn't have to follow like this or that category. And then I felt very comfortable and felt at home. So that was the moment that I decided to be myself. Okay, I just accept that I'm by culture. And that was the moment I feel very down to earth and finally felt my root.
It's fascinating that you had to go to the US to feel.
I'm back. Okay, we can start.
When did you go to the US and how long did you stay there?
I went in 2012 to 2014, only 2 years. But I felt so American back then. When I came back to Taiwan, a lot of people started to speak English to me, and they thought I was ABC. So before then, people talked to me in Japanese. Afterwards, English.
Wow, that's incredible. And you wrote some texts on WhatsApp to me in Spanish. So have you lived in a Spanish-speaking country too?
Only traveling. My partner is from Chile, so I have to speak Spanish to him.
Okay. That explains a few things. Because you lived in at least 3 different countries and you had probably many experiences, can you think about any advice that you will give someone that's thinking about emigrating?
I would say just being open-minded, because when I told my friends or classmates that I'm going to study abroad, the very first questions that everyone would ask me was, "Oh, will you get used to it? How do you overcome?" But there's no big problem at all. Like you just be open-minded and accept whatever comes, and just enjoy, no matter it's bad or good experience. So I'm not saying that I have all positive experiences, and I of course had bad ones in like living abroad, but that's how it shapes your view, because we are always in the comfort zone, and a lot of things you just take it for granted. And then you never knew how good your own country was until you go abroad.
Have you lived in other countries besides Japan and the US?
So Japan, US, and Australia.
And Taiwan.
Oh, yeah.
Australia too?
Yeah. So I did my master's degree at the University of Sydney.
Oh, wow. How was that?
I feel a bit hesitant to talk about it because it's not a very positive
That's totally
experience.
Fine. We can skip it. I'll go to another question. One question that I have is, I feel like when someone goes to live in another country and culture, most things around you start to change. The music, the sounds, the smells, the food, the habits, the behavior, like everything around mostly changes. But I think that one changes too as a person. So my question is, has the experience of living in other countries changed you as a person, who you are?
Yes. I think I became more open-minded. Living in Japan, and especially in that university, changed me a lot, but in USA changed me the most. Where I studied is called APU, Asia Pacific University. Asia Pacific University. That was pretty new university back then, and they invited lots of international students. So first, I was very lucky to have met many people from all over the world. But I was still shy because in Taiwan, majority of the people were shy. So I wanted to be friends with them, but I didn't have the nerve to do that. But I still have some. So I made some European, Japanese, and some like the Southeast Asian friends. Or I got to observe them because a lot of people like to hang out as a group. So I was with different group of friends, but it was uncomfortable because it was outside of my comfort zone. So I was very quiet, watching, observing in that sense, and didn't know what to do, struggled mentally. I wanted to be friends, but I couldn't. But when I came back to Taiwan, I was very happy because of such experience and very globally, and I was more active than what I was. Because in Taiwan, I had a lot of desire, but I couldn't do it. I was so cared about the social frame. I was inside the frame. Then in USA, it totally changed. When I came back from USA, because a lot of people thought I was ABC, because of how I behave, how like the movement, the gestures, and the personality. Then they thought I was ABC. Oh, ABC is American-born Chinese. And I knew how to express and also fight for my rights. In Taiwan, it's very common to be exploited, and people don't fight for themselves. In USA, they do. And some of my friends were very quiet, friendly, and turned out when I told them about my experiences, they got angry. They were angry for me, and I could see from their face that, wow, they said, I will do, like, where is that person? They will take the action to, like, fight for me. Then I found out, wow, in Taiwan, you kind of have to talk loud to defend yourself, or even if you talk loud, it's still hard to defend yourself. But in USA, even for those who seem to be very quiet or mild, they could have personality. And then I took that in me, and I started to take actions.
It feels like it almost changed your personality, no? In a way.
Totally.
You talked a few times about going back to Taiwan. Was it hard to adapt back to Taiwan once you had lived in another country? Yeah.
Yes. It's called reversed cultural shock. From Japan to Taiwan, it was hard, but not super hard because I was already in the mindset that I wanted to go to the next country. Coming back from USA would be more cultural shock than Japan because, Japan and Taiwan, both are East Asia and both have similar communication, similar. USA is totally straightforward. You have a nice way, but it's still very straightforward. And in Taiwan, you have to turn around. So starting to get upset when they say something. Yeah, they will give me vague answers. And I was waiting for the actual. In USA, you are more free. You can have your own personality, individuality, and also you are okay to be yourself. But in Taiwan, you have to put yourself in the frame. So I'm a educated person with higher education. So there's a frame for my clothes, my outfits, the way of talking.
Like I said at the beginning, the first and the last question is also always the same. More or less like a tribute to immigrants and where we come from and where we're going. That's why I repeat the question. And the last question is, from your perspective, what is an immigrant? What does being an immigrant feel like to you?
Immigrant is someone that you, from your own culture, to live in a different culture. For example, I'm a Taiwanese, I have Taiwanese nationality and also grew up with Taiwanese culture.
Mm-hmm.
When I go to USA, totally different language, culture, society, and everything is different. Then you feel when you're out, then you act like you Americans. Then when you go home, you probably have your own Taiwanese culture. How I was in Japan, first 6 years, I'm a Taiwanese in family. But when I go out to study, go to the kindergarten, I was Japanese. So for those who have diasporic identities, they are more like, sometimes they feel that if they don't immerse well, then they feel like they're outsiders. And that's how I felt in Japan and Australia, outsider. And then I, of course, felt lonely. In Japan, at the university, a lot of Japanese were open-minded because they wanted to meet foreigners. That's why they went to that specific university. So for those who had good relationship with me, they were very open-minded. But I also felt pressured because I couldn't read that much. When we call that kukioyomu, read the atmosphere, read the air, sense it. So I felt a bit pressured because I couldn't. We were getting along well, but you can always feel that you're not Japanese. And you can also feel that how they communicate between only Japanese and also with foreigner or with foreigners who speak Japanese well. Or I already sensed that we are different. I would never be a Japanese. But ironically, it's really fun. Not fun. It's quite interesting that in Japan and Australia, I was a foreigner. Yeah. So in those two countries, I was always aware that I was a foreigner. But in USA, I didn't.
That's incredible.
I didn't have to remind myself that I'm Asian, I'm Taiwanese. I just went to the class and went to the party, so gatherings, hung out with friends as who I was. Then sometimes I realized, I'm actually a foreigner.
Wow. Well, I think I took enough time from your day, or night in your case. Thank you for your time and all the very interesting conversation that we had.
The questions that you had asked me was something that I used to think or reflect constantly. But very few people had asked me. So you are maybe one of the first, or maybe only the second or third person who asked me those questions in my that entire life. I'm quite glad that someone would be interested in knowing how I felt and the process of how I became who I was.
The journey, no? All the journey.
Yeah, all the journey, yeah.
I've been out of my country for 24 years almost. And I felt like I wanted to believe that I learned something out of it. So I just started sharing videos of my life and things that happened. And then I started interviewing folks to say, hey, let's share experiences. I want to believe that people can benefit from seeing other people's experiences in different countries and learn from them. There's a lot of people that are living in other countries that feel pretty lonely too. So watching videos about someone else's lives, I think that could be helpful. So that's why I started this whole thing.
That's very meaningful.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying my best, but it's fun to do it too. And I got some good responses, so I'll keep doing it. As long as I have people like you, generous to share your story, I'll keep doing it. Barbie, that was great. Thank you very much for your time. I really enjoyed our conversation, as I enjoyed our tour when you were the guide back in Taipei a couple of years ago. So thank you once again. Or should I say, arigatou gozaimasu, or shishie, or simply gracias. And for you on the other side, well, my first question is, what did you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you don't feel like writing too much, that's fine. You can just subscribe, hit the subscribe button or the like button, or both. But seriously, I hope you're enjoying these conversations and all the content that I'm putting out in the world. Thank you for being here, and maybe I'll see you on the next one.